signs, it's put in the Quran in like a divine law or divine laws, which means that those divine laws are there times and again. They are repeated. They might come here and there, but in different, maybe in different forms, different type. These signs might happen times and again whenever the cause is repeated. The cause, sins, injustice, transgression, exceeding the limits, etc. In general, turning away from the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Some of objectives of the signs are, as we mentioned earlier, to draw lessons and to return to Allah. Okay? As stressed in the last portion of the verse, so that they might return to us, which means to repent and stop all types of transgressions. Okay. To take or to draw lessons, this is an important also what we call it part. I believe even Dr. Habib has messaged me just a few minutes or maybe about 50 minutes ago about I want to relate this to creativity, because to take lessons or to draw lessons in general, whether it is spiritual or otherwise, as I will explain, we need intuitiveness. So the most important tool in drawing all types of lessons, I put all types, as I said, whether it's spiritual, whether it is educational, whether it is economic. You see, as a result of COVID, now -19, we can see that we are facing lots of challenges in society. So we have social perspective. We have also the health perspective, which is another important issue. As we can see now in many universities, we are facing a problem with education, some challenges in education, etc. Economic, as also you can see. Okay, so we need, what we need is, we need intuitiveness to draw the lessons, okay? So the important tool is thinking, okay? When we talk about the importance of intuitiveness, we are referring to thinking. So the important tools is thinking. This might explain why the Quran uses 20 different terms to encourage it, to encourage thinking. Al-Quran used, tomorrow I have, or Saturday, I have a lecture, another lecture inshallah, on thinking terminologies in the Quran. So, but here, there is a glimpse that Al-Quran used 20 different terms to encourage thinking, okay? To motivate and encourage mankind, not only Muslims, but also to the non-Muslims, to think. Al-Quran used 3 strategies to promote the 20 synonyms. I'm just giving you a summary of the topic Saturday. How those 20 terms or synonyms of thinking are promoted in the Quran. They are promoted in 3 ways or strategies. Questioning, ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك أولم يروا أفلا ينظرون. So these are some examples. Number 2, so questioning, praising. Praising those who think, those who use their intellect, those who ponder, those who reflect, those who contemplate. That's another strategy. Number 3, commanding us, commanding the humanities, the mankind, to think, to ponder, to reflect, etc. Okay, one of the most important terms. So one of the terms is thinking itself, tafakkur. But to me, one of the most important terms is tawassum. Okay, or contemplating. So tawassum in Quranic language, Arabic language, means contemplating. Okay, why I'm saying that it is one of the most important? Allah says in Surah Al-Hijr, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُتَوَسِّمِينَ. Indeed, in that there are signs for those who contemplate. You know, in the events, in the disasters, in the problems, in the challenges that we face in life or we run into. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ. It's very interesting. In the same ayah, Surah Al-Hijr, Allah used the singular, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةٍ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. But you see, that's why I'm also trying to infer why contemplation or contemplating is very important. Because Allah says, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ. So there are signs. Signs here, there are lessons, there are, you know, notions, there are whatever the things that 5 or 6 that we mentioned earlier, marks or proofs, evidence, okay? So many, as if that, you know, the term used here is plural, لآيات للمتوسمين. So al-mutawassimun means those who contemplate. Okay, the term has been mentioned only one time in the Quran. Now we go to the, as Dr. Habib said, that we need a new world view. So this is the thing. Creative thinking is based on intuitiveness. Okay, creative thinking is based on intuitiveness, speculation, and design. 3 things: intuitiveness, speculation, and design. These are, so this is the other side of the story. For that, for practicing intuitiveness, speculation, and design, we need contemplation. So I'm going from one step to another step, I hope in order. Okay, so we need a contemplation and intuitiveness to deal with the signs of Allah. To deal with the signs of Allah, we need both. So okay, a historical practice or practical example. Here is the thing. My brothers and sisters, whenever there is a sign, a great sign like COVID-19, the one we are facing today, there are 2 issues here. There are 2 issues. For sure, one issue, there is a lesson for people to stop injustice, transgression, this and that, return back to Allah. So that is al-ubudiyyah. But within the worldview, within the Islamic worldview, we have been created for 2 things. Number 1 is ubudiyyah. Number 2 is establishing and building up the Islamic civilization. The Islamic civilization. Okay, whenever there is a problem or a challenge, there are 2 things. For sure, there is the spiritual part, that is for the ubudiyyah. And there is the other side that is related to civilization. To the other side, which is, we are talking about other aspects of life, economic, educational, political, health care, others. So these are what we are facing today with COVID-19. Now, if we go back to the story of Sayyiduna Yusuf alayhi salam, at his time, we know, to make it short, he was run into a trial where he was put into a prison, and he met with two persons, okay, and he was very good in intuitiveness, in intuitive power, in contemplation, because ta'wilul ahlam, it has to do with ta'wilul ahlam, interpreting dreams. So he was very good for that. Okay, this cannot be done. By the way, it's not that magical. It's based also on intuitiveness. Okay, so the king saw a dream that there are what these 7 cows and this and whatever the dream is talking about. So the king was confused. He was frustrated about the dream. So anyway, one of the persons that met with Sayyiduna Yusuf alayhi salam, he was one of the people who were close to the king, and he told him about Sayyiduna Yusuf. So the king sent to Sayyiduna Yusuf to interpret the dream. So Sayyiduna Yusuf speculated the future problem, and that is a drought for 7 years. A drought, this is a sign, by the way. You look at it from one side, it's a sign of God, sign of Allah, okay? And not only that, Sayyiduna Yusuf was able to design, that's part of the creativity, some economic measures and strategies to overcome it successfully. Just imagine a problem, economic problem or challenge that lasted 7 years. And Sayyiduna Yusuf alayhi salam was able to speculate and to design those measures and strategies to overcome the problem. Okay, we may conclusions. One important lesson from COVID-19 is to return to Allah. And we need intuitiveness to design strategies to protect Muslims' minds and hearts and preserve Islamic values. My brothers and sisters, Islamic values, Muslim minds, especially the youth, the young ones, the youngsters, are targeted. With this borderless communication technology, with its challenges, part of its challenges, as we know, is that what they call the intellectual, they are trying to al-alamiyah, al-awlama, not to international. Awlama, Brother Habib, maybe. Okay, al-awlama to, the main thing is the Westerns are trying also to promote their values, their lifestyles, their thinking or way of thinking through this technology, okay? So, and no longer under brainwashing. Now it's under mind leading. Can you imagine? It's now called mind leading. For sure, there is the positive side of mind leading, and we should be also part of this team who can, for the Muslim intellects. I believe that, alhamdulillah, most of you, if not all, we belong to the intellectuals, Muslim intellectuals. We should take our part in leading the minds, especially for our, as I said, for our youth, for our societies, for our communities, okay? So to protect them and so that they benefit from this, from technology and other challenges that we are facing today, okay? But at the same time, how can we preserve our values, our value system, our beliefs? Some of our youth are even like now they are giving up Islam. So many of them, they are becoming atheists, you know, and turning into other ideologies. So that is part also of the Islamic worldview, where we need to make some adjustments. This is the lesson that we get maybe also from COVID-19. Okay, number two, we need to draw lessons from the event to improve our health, educational, economic, cultural, political systems. So that is another part, as we said. So there is one part as Abdulillah, that's the first one. And the second part is cultivating the earth, building up the Islamic civilization, we need here, regardless of the COVID-19, COVID-19 gives us the chance maybe to draw lessons that we need to improve our economic systems, our cultural systems, our political systems, our educational systems, okay? Now, maybe it's too late for some universities to go for e-learning and distant learning, okay? Even though we have facilities, we have the Zoom, we have in IUIA, we have iTa'lim, we have, but you know, we had to stop. Just imagine we had to stop where we are of the willing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to some scenarios, that this COVID-19 will end by end of May or early June. Anyway, so like our university had to do a new planning for the semester, for the current semester. But I think it's a chance for us. We have a number of our lecturers maybe participating in this talk. So we need to reflect. We need to use our intuitiveness to develop, to improve our educational system. And as well, as I said, you know, other systems as well. Okay, so it's a chance for us to do that. Don't wait. And another thing is, well, subhanallah, we never know. It might last for another 1-2 months. We don't know. Anyway, it's good to do this practice, and we need intuitiveness here. Number 3, and creativity. We need to speculate. This is the thing. You can see I have followed up with some talks by presidents from different countries, including the United States, where they said, and some of those higher authorities, on the top management, they say we were late to take actions. This is another lesson that we take from COVID-19. They said we were too late. You know, most people started by the end of February or maybe beginning of March to act, to take a step further to face with this pandemic. Okay, so what we need is speculate, even based on COVID-19 itself, it might give us the basis. You know, to speculate, you need something, a background that allows you to speculate. So we can use COVID-19 to speculate future challenges, whether health challenges, healthcare, whether educational, whether economic, or any other, you name it, other fields. So we need to speculate the future challenges. That's what they call futuristic problem solving, by the way. Creative, futuristic problem solving, okay? You speculate what might happen after 10 years, 5 years, even 50 years, and then you go back, after you speculate, you go back, what do we need to do in order to be ready for such changes, for such challenges, okay? So the world is changing and there is a lot of challenges, okay? Then we need, after speculating the challenges, we need to design measures and strategies to overcome the challenges. So that is the third step of my conclusion. We need to speculate and design strategies for future challenges. And we may move from where we are now. Usually, creative thinking starts with where we are now. So you start from the inbox and then you go out of the box. And that's what is meant by speculation and design. By the way, for all these, we have, I want also, this is the conclusion of the conclusion. For all these intuitive thinking, for speculation, for design, there are skills that, alhamdulillah, our university UIA is offering and teaching for our students for the last 20 years. So there are skills we need to improve for sure. Maybe we need to improve also those skills so to make it more applicable to what we call it daily life challenges, including those like COVID-19 challenge. So with that, I would like to conclude my my talk. وبالله التوفيق والهداية وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Jazakumullah khair, Prof. Jamal Badi, for a very intellectual discussion. Now, for your information, currently we have 57 participants through Zoom from all over the world. And also we have a live telecast through our partner, IIDSO, Institute Darul Ihsan. And we have like both Zoom and also live telecast. We almost have 70 participants or viewers at the same time. Now I would like to open to all of you to ask any question or to add a few comments, but not long, just 1 or 2 minutes. And Prof. Jamal my answers, or we can discuss together. Before you ask question or give a comment, can you introduce your name and where you're from? Tafadhal. Can I see your hand or yeah, Pak Habib or yeah, Pak Habib. Tafadhal, Syekh. Yeah, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum, brother Fauzan. It's a great honor and a great pleasure to see you again, Brother
Yes.
Professor Jamal Badi, Datuk Jamil,
Barakallah.
Prof. Fauzan, and all of you. I would like to express my sincere thanks and highest appreciation for this inspiring, to me, it's really inspiring lecture. And as I have mentioned in my previous WhatsApp sent to you, that it needs new way of thinking. It really needs a new creativity, new mind mapping. We have to mind map,
Yeah.
and also to have a new way of looking at the world, at the universe, at ourselves, and our relationship between human being and the universe. And from my personal view in terms of the peace studies, that we have to end up all of the enmities of the destruction by the war, and we have to end up all the the armed races, which is not really needed to our situation. We have to go to the more human security, the security of economic security, health security, cultural security, by the new way of looking at our future. It's our common future. It's not one big country futures. It's our common future, a human future. So we have to have new way of looking at the future as in the Quranic literacy. We need a new Quranic literacy in the era of post what you call normal era. So please, Brother Professor Jamal Badi, guide us and enlighten us on the way of looking at the new world for the future of the pandemic COVID-19. Thank you very much.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you. Thank you. And Tafadhal, Prof. Jamal. Thank you, Pak Abi.
Okay, the new way of thinking. For the new way of thinking, thinking whether it is, by the way, it's a universal, it's one of the universal phenomena, by the way. Thinking is thinking, but the thing is to teach. One thing to me is to teach our students the thinking skills. What they need is the thinking skills, whether from the Islamic or Western perspective or other perspectives as well. So we need to pay attention to the new generations. And I believe other universities in Malaysia and other parts of the world, Islamic world, they need to follow the example of UIA by offering maybe this. I know that OSIM, USIM, and some other universities, they are also offering these kind of courses. So, but we need to improve also those courses. In this course, we teach the students the lateral thinking skills or creative thinking skills, through which they are able to change perceptions, their perceptions. So that can be what Dr. Habib is talking about, can be done through the structures of these lateral thinking skills. We can do that, okay? But you need to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset of our students so that they are, number one, they are aware of those thinking skills, and they are able, not only aware, because understanding is one thing, but also they are able to use them in their real life. That is very important. So if we start slowly, inshallah, over the years and decades, I'm sure that the Muslims will hopefully will be in a better position to deal with their problems and challenges, and to, as Dr. Habib put it, to overcome those challenges together, maybe even with others from whether from other countries, societies, cultures, religions. Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Jamal. Yeah, you said that we have to introduce these courses, critical thinking, literal thinking, and to see what is going to happen in future studies. I have a question from Imam Hanafi Al-Jahuri. He asked a question. He said, in my mind, this COVID-19 epidemic, or not just epidemic, it's pandemic now, it's all over the world, is the war of knowledge and technology. What must Muslim scholars do facing this war? Thank you, Imam Hanafi. You are from Indonesia, I guess, Imam? From Jawa, Surabaya, or Jakarta? Okay, I can hear you. You have to unmute the microphone there. Okay, thank you. Okay, tafadhal, Prof. Jamal. This is a question from Imam Hanafi.
Yeah. Actually, that's what I also mentioned in my talk, that there are two aspects of the problem or of the pandemic. Okay. One of them, which I stated clearly, the second part, which I called the other story, the other side of the story. What Brother Hanafi called war of knowledge. Well, this war of knowledge, that's why this requires that for us, we Muslims also, we need to improve our systems, all our systems, okay? All the systems that I mentioned and other systems as well. So knowledge now is not just about knowing. No, manipulating the knowledge is very important. Arranging the knowledge, as they call it now, knowledge arrangement. Okay. Now they talk about intelligence, artificial intelligence, and many others concepts related to knowledge. So in order to do that, we need to be equipped with, we need to be equipped with the proper skills, we need to be guided and equipped with the skills. These skills come from two sources. Number one, from Islam inside itself, from Quran, from the Sunnah. That's what I'm trying also to do in my research, in my books. That's one thing. And then we have another source, which is, as I said, thinking and creativity is universal. And now it's shared, knowledge sharing also. This is another thing related. So it's not just war of knowledge, it's also knowledge sharing. So now there are numerous books which are available as a PDF written by others, okay, by the non-Muslims. We need also to explore, we need to read and explore and benefit from their experience and from their also whatever they reached through the findings, the research findings. So we need also to be updated. And then when we talk about knowledge, we need to be updated in those important areas. And also in all other areas, okay? Economy now, with the Bitcoins, with the many new, what we call introduced concepts, we need to be ready for that. We need to have our also views, our scholars. I know like only a few researchers from College of Economics who written articles about some of those issues. So but we need to share also, sharing this knowledge. I believe that what we are doing now also via this Zoom is knowledge sharing. We need to share our experience. We need to share our also with others. Now we are starting, alhamdulillah, maybe hundreds of universities all over the world, Muslim world. We are going to share through Zoom our UIA experience in creative thinking, in also education, Dr. Prof. Dawood Al-Haidabi, in many other areas, Prof. Munjid. Okay, so I think one other thing is sharing, knowledge sharing.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Prof. Jamal. And with this, one of the hikmah, of course, a lot of hikmah of this COVID-19, that we are meeting here today through this technology. This is our effort, and IIIT effort, and together all of you. Then from Omar Hassan Kasole, our Secretary General, already start the course online. Yani Prof. Jamal Badi, Prof. Munjid, and also Hidabi, going to start course online. And I can see the dream that we can have our own university online, we can have our accreditation, and this is the way that we're going to share and give knowledge to our ummah. And I have a question from Brother Amir. You want to ask question directly, or you want to ask verbally? I think verbally is better. Amir, or you want me to ask? You can unmute your speaker. Oh, okay. I asked in his question, pursuant to verses for Surah Yusuf 46 to 49, how many Muslim or Muslim organization and Muslim countries really prepare financially for such emergency that we are facing now? By the way, Prof. Jamal, he's an economist, so that's why he asked how many of us prepare for financially. Then another question from Roharjo to Roharjo. In Quran is stated Arashikuna fil ilmi, the expert in the part related to COVID-19. Who are the experts? Tafadhal ya Sheikh. There are two questions.
Okay. Maybe I will start with the second question.
Okay.
The experts here, we have, it's open to all what we call it, whether human science, whether applied science, or whether it is religious science or Islamic science. It's open to all. We need the input from everyone, so that, you know, to help the community, the society, and the humanity, as part of our UIA song, Prof. Fawzan. Rahmatan lil Alamin. So we need to share our knowledge, we need to share our experience, we need to, at all levels. So we need the input from everybody, from the university, or from also other institutions as well, whether from Indonesia or from Malaysia or other parts of the Muslim world, or Brunei also. Okay, so that is the second part. The first part, this one, I think we need the expert. How much we are prepared for this economic, maybe also challenge, you know. I think we need here the experts from economy, from maybe business administration and management, etc., to tell us about how much we are ready, and what can we do? What can we do to help? This is open actually to all. This is a question that can be posed or sent to every single Muslim. What is our role to play? Okay, what is it that we can help our communities, number one, and the humanities at large, to overcome this disaster, and maybe even like other challenges. We have our Islamic worldview also that need to be, as Prof. Habib mentioned, need to be also maybe modified and adjusted, so that to have more creative thinking input inside, maybe.
Okay, thank you. Brother Amir, maybe you want to have some input about economic situation now? By the way, Brother Amir is former advisor to Deputy Prime Ministers on economic. Tafadhal, Brother Amir.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My apologies for coming in a bit late.
It's
So I
okay.
had some other things. No, why Professor Jamal and Professor Fauzan and everyone, all the professors as well, and non-professors. I just raised this issue because we have been talking about Surah Yusuf 46, 49, and I mean, even the Muslims are not some Muslims are not agreeable. But to me, that verses tell us that from the economic perspective, we shouldn't, the country shouldn't be doing fiscal deficits every year. Okay, there should be a balance between fiscal surplus and during which time private sectors can actually move the economy, and also fiscal deficits during time when the private sector cannot move the economy. One of them is during this current time. But if we were to continue to have fiscal deficit all the time, 30, 40 years, where are we going to have money to finance the extra expenditure that we are going to have to incur during this time? That's one. Number two, either individuals, organizations, or country, they must have emergency fund, even for individuals. And this is in the financial planning. And I see that if we want to talk about financial planning from the Islamic perspective, this first is very important. We are not talking about 7 years as specific as what the Quran says, but at least we have some kind of buffer fund for us to survive if such thing happen. Of course, we knew that the last time such thing happened was about 102 years ago. That was in 1918 when we had the Spanish flu, which lasted actually for 14 months until 2019. But are we ready even to have no income for a period of say 2 or 3 months? So that's a question. Because why I raise this issue is because recently, I think about last year or year before, in the Facebook among Malaysians, there are some people who question why mosques keep money. Why can't mosques distribute everything that they have to people? And now I hope these people will understand that kind of mosque, that kind of musalla, that keep some fund, that keep some reserve, they can actually use the money to help the people surrounding the area. But those mosques and musalla that accept that criticism and use everything they had, I think they have problem right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Amir. I have a question from Brother Tamrin Kiram. He asked Prof. Jamal, is coronavirus is kind of Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, creatures destroy humankind, as the Quran say. What is your comment? You have to unmute, Brother Jamal. Unmute your.
Okay. To me, by the way, this I am not in favor of such. By the way, that's my personal view. I am not in favor of the scenarios that, you know, this kind of more of fiction, or there is some kind of what they call it in our ustura in Arabic. It's like myths. We are talking about myths and this and that. Muslims, at every time of a problem or a challenge, they go to myths, they go to this and that. You know, at the sorry to mention that at the time of war in the Gulf area, when Saddam invaded Kuwait, there is a book. There is a book that Saddam is such and such, and that you know, he's even mentioned in the hadith or what, Saddam and this and that. This is to me, using this, you know, not to forget also many other incidents, like the incident of Baytullah al-Haram in Mecca, it was based on dreams, just the dreams, and speculate. These are speculations, but speculations not based on knowledge. It's based on mere speculation. It's based on myths, based on trying to link one thing to another. Okay, so to me, we shouldn't bother with such kind of scenarios or speculations. Use our speculation and intuitiveness in the proper way. In the proper way is like what Prof. Amir mentioned, think of how can we help our societies with the money, the reserve or this or that we have. Okay, so try to use it properly so that we are dealing with the real life problems. For the ghaib, these you are bringing the issue of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Part of it, the big part is ghaib. It's ghaibi. We don't have to worry about. When they come, they come. Okay? But don't worry about it. About Al-Mahdi, the one that Al-Haram, 1980. So don't worry about Al-Mahdi coming or not coming. There is even a debate whether there is, I'm not saying I'm taking apart, but why we should worry ourselves? Why should we use our intellect in speculating things that will not help us in any way possible to improve our life, to improve talk about preserving our values? That is where the spiritual, I'm always saying that we need also a new tasawwuf, Prof. Fawzan.
Yes,
we need a new tasawwuf.
Yeah, true.
It means that even the old way of explaining the spiritual, the spiritual aspect of Islam, doesn't fit. Sorry to say, it doesn't fit. Unless we modify, unless we adjust, okay, unless we do further speculations and try to relate our worldview to the contemporary challenges and issues. So that's my view.
Thank you. I think we have good opinion from Senator Ismail or Abba. I think I want him to share. He share in the chatting room, but I think I want him to share in the this. We want to listen to your voice. Tafadhal, Abba.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Louder, please.
Can you hear, Ole?
Yeah, louder.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Fawzan. I'm very deeply touched, and sincerely, I'm very deeply touched and really appreciate the discussion today and all the points put forward by Prof. Jamal. So I just add in the chat room that I personally I felt that post COVID-19, the academia world, especially the scientists, the intellectual, should take the lead in shaping the future, and not let, with due respect, politicians, political leaders, or even political parties, to decide and frame out what nation and what ummah should be in the future. I think because as we see this COVID-19, is, I take an example. This COVID-19 is an urban virus, because if you look at all the places being badly hit by this COVID-19 are the urban area, which means that we need to revisit and to redefine what urbanization is all about. Because as it is now, for example, in Malaysian context, where we talk in the urban like affordable home, we try to solve shelter for those who are the lower income in the urban area. But even before COVID-19, we already have many social issues about people living in a shelter where a big family with a very lower income and no proper help system, support system there, recreation, education center for children is already created social problem. But now with lockdown, in the lockdown situation with COVID-19, the worst area hit and the social issue, including about stress and psychic impact to those who are living in this area is terribly very bad. And there's no concerted effort yet to help these people who are living in this area. So I believe that this is this post-COVID-19, this pandemic, the intellectual world, academicians especially, the scientists especially, must step forward to take the lead to save the ummah and of course the humanity. Wallahu alam. Assalamualaikum, Syekh.
Waalaikumsalam. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Anybody else want to ask a question? Can you raise your hand like this and then I can notice you? Anybody? Otherwise, I go to chat room. Now we have 69 viewers plus 5 with from the broadcasting through live FB. I have questions from one Muhammad Yusuf Wanchi Al-Zaini. He said, is it an israra to mankind, israra or ishara to mankind to make alignment to their sustainable life? Ishara. So yeah, right now we call it quarantine. At the same time, we said Quran time. So we have to reflect, as Dr. Abba said just now, to lock down ourselves, to reflect what we're going to do next. Same thing with Brother Amir Ali. He said that what is a Muslim scientist, Islamic University worldwide, should involve in development such a vaccine or their own or collaboration with WHO. We know one Dr. Amalina from UK, I mean Malaysian in UK is involved in the vaccine. So now, Prof. Jamal, you have any comment on that? Unmute the speaker.
Yeah. To me, I think it's a healthy. I attended in 1997. I attended a conference in Singapore, and it was about thinking and infusing thinking into curriculum. So anyway, 3 presenters were talking about asking questions. I think it's healthy that we also ask questions. Whether we answer the question or not, that's a different matter. Asking questions is the key to knowledge. Yeah. That's very important. Yes. And they say in one, I still remember, one presenter, they said, he was from UKM, I believe. He said that it's better for participants, for students, to go out of the session, in this case, our case, or classroom, to go with questions better than to go out with answers. What we need to do is that, like the questions just now posed by our brother Prof here, what's his name, Prof Fauzan?
Amir Ali or Tokaba?
Tokaba.
Senator. He's senator.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we need to ask questions. And by the way, that is another thing in the Quran that I would like to share with you. Al-Quran didn't just command us and encouraged us to think, it provides at least, based on my research, 15 styles of thinking. One of them is inquisitiveness, inquisitive thinking style. And just imagine about 1,256 questions in the Quran. 1,256 questions in the Quran. It's building up the inquisitive mind. We need to, the positive side, you know, not the problematic, the one that, no, we want questions that lead to knowledge, as our scholars put it. The questions that will lead to knowledge, that will lead to solving problems. We need to ask. And by the way, also I have my sessions on intuitive thinking skills.
Yeah.
What happened? Is it? Are we?
Yeah, you share the screen. You share the screen.
Okay. So the one of the
Imam Hanafi, can you stop sharing the screen? Okay, go ahead, Prof. Jamal. Yeah.
Okay. When you talk about intuitive thinking, it's about 2 hours session. The most important part in intuitiveness and intuitive thinking is asking questions. That not only that you collect the data, okay? So for sure, exploring the data, collecting the data, gathering the data is important, but you need to digest, and you need to ask questions, lots of questions. So the more questions you have, that's what I created my principle. I said, the more wise you have, the more wise you become.
Okay.
The more wise, W-I-Y. Yes.
W-H-Y. Why?
W-H-Y. The more wise you have, the more wise, W-I-S-E, the more wise you become.
Yeah.
That's why. So we need, to me, just asking questions is a healthy phenomenon. So let's just go for it. Whether I answer or someone else answer. By the way, the 1,256 questions in the Quran, many of the questions.
How many questions, Prof. Jamal? 1,000?
Yes, 1,256.
1,256. 1,256. Mashallah. Okay.
Yeah. Satu ribu
200.
256.
Asanta.
Okay.
Okay.
This great phenomena, I call it a phenomena. In 600 pages of the Quran, there are 1,256. Okay. In this phenomena, I've written 2 articles on questions in the Quran, by the way, and maybe we can share with our colleagues about the mindset also, about Muslim mindset and about questioning and questions in the Quran. Anyway, some of the questions are not answered.
Yeah.
It's left for the Quran doesn't answer all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
These questions, especially with afala yanzuruna, alam tara kaifa. So it's like, it's open question for the mind to ponder, to reflect, to think. So this is a phenomenon.
Thank you. I have a question, I think through chat room, but I would like to invite them to ask, because they are long questions, from Professor Dr. Razai Said, from he's Vice Chancellor of University Islam College Islam Malacca. Why don't you ask directly Prof. Razai? Can you unmute your speaker and ask a question? Or no response? They are going to ask a question on his behalf. His question, apart from economic effect, kindly comment on education impact, especially for our children education and primary and secondary school with respect to Islamic education, Prof. Razak. Then another question from Prof. Ruslina Osman. You want to ask question directly, Prof. Ruslina? Hello? I'm going to read her question then. Prof. Jamal, thank you for presentation, Prof. Jamal. During this pandemic COVID-19, even educated people are gullible and close-mindedness when they ask questions about coronavirus. Gullible and close-mindedness are core coronavirus thinking and opposite to critical thinking. I guess experts in critical thinking must look into this coronavirus thinking so that critical thinking could be solution and stay different than coronavirus thinking. This is from Prof. Ruslina Osman from International Islamic University. Sister Dr. Rumasha Putri, you want to ask a question directly or you want me to? Rumasha, are you there? No, then I'm going to ask on her behalf. I want to ask Prof. Jamal, he's from Rumasha Putri. In the midst of economic stagnation, doesn't money still revolve? I think does money still revolve around the needs most often using this pandemic, such as Wi-Fi agency or Zoom agency, or there's some follow-up action by politician or government for making economic balance just what Prophet Yusuf based upon him did? Okay, these are three questions. Can you answer those three questions or discuss?
Actually, Prof. Fauzan, for the three questions, by the way, to me, why not we take those three questions as three comments? Okay, so to me, I will take it as comments, whether it's about the education impact. I think we can see it. I mean, especially for our children. For some countries where they, like, you know, I know that in Europe or maybe in United States, they are using now, they are using Zoom and other applications for distant teaching and learning, by the way. But in our communities, unfortunately, we have the problem where maybe some of our children don't have access to the internet. This creates a problem for them. Okay, so anyway, we need to, I believe, we need to, for sure, to revisit, to look at those issues related to education, or whether it is also to economy or other aspects. We need to address them properly by our experts, and we need even to have maybe even further discussions, because each one of these can be a discussion for 1 hour and 1 hour and a half. All the 3 points that are mentioned by our brothers and sisters here. Okay, so for the Sister Romaisa, I will just take it as a comment also.
Yeah, okay.
But for the coronavirus thinking, coining, even though like it's good not to label people, because once you label them, they will be a little bit reluctant to listen to you, or they will be more what we call it, they will be resistant, they will to any change. Okay, what we need actually, what we need to teach or to spread or to promote is both critical thinking and creative thinking, because there are two, as we know, two separate, even though they are interconnected, they are complementary. But we teach both. I mean, in UIA, we teach separately.
Thank you.
Islamic critical thinking, one thing; creative thinking and problem solving is another subject. Anyway, we need, I believe, we need to promote, we need to help our, by the way, our, what we call it, communities, to improve their way of thinking. Just sharing with you, like according to Delphi report in the 90s, they mentioned that critical thinking skills, the most important are 6. The first one, they put interpretation. Interpretation. Okay, I tell you, Umberto Eco, the Italian philosopher, he wrote 2 books, each book maybe around 300 pages, about interpretation. One of them is translated to English, interpretation and over-interpretation. Anyway, interpretation. To interpret, you need to also, you need intuitive thinking, because you need to know about lateral thinking, how ideas are formed, how they are structured, how can we play with that structure so that we can change perceptions. All that is discussed also in creative thinking and intuitiveness. So we need to share this knowledge, to me, based on my experience. We need to share it with our students and our community. Now, these skills are, by the way, when I attended the conference in Singapore, 1997, there were presentations from some countries like Venezuela, from South America, right?
Yes.
Yes. You see, all the way back to those days, they said they already have experience of about 5 or how many years using games in schools, in elementary schools, and even in what they call them, kindergarten, to promote thinking and creativity. So through educational games, what they call the educational games. So we need to improve these systems, educational systems. There's a lot to be said and discussed. Okay, so it takes time also. By the way, it takes time to change the mentality, to change the mindset. Islam took a long time, you know, Quran, to change these the mentalities. By the way, one term, if you allow me, Prof. Fauzan and the others.
Go ahead.
I remembered, I told you there are 20 terms in Quran for thinking, synonyms. One of them is hasiba. Hasiba. This is called, I called it calculative thinking. It's called calculative thinking. Hasiba, hasiba. So, by the way, it's repeated in the Quran. What I know, around 50 to 60, more than 50, let's say, it's more than 50 times repeated in the Quran. Do you know that this term, hasiba, is to change perceptions? Quran came to change, either to establish new perceptions or to change wrong perceptions. So one of the means to do that is through the term hasiba, calculative thinking. Okay, so but even though it took Quraysh, it took many other tribes decades to interact with the Quranic message, to listen to it. So when we talk about promoting, let's say, creative and critical thinking, whether the standards, the skills, this and that, we need sabr. We need to do the effort, and we need to do it properly. And then we need time. We need time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we have almost 8 minutes to go before we start at 4 o'clock. But I have 2 questions from one, Dr. Fadila from USIM, if I'm not mistaken. Then another one, Raharjo from Indonesia. Now I would like to invite Dr. Fadila Ali first. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Jamal. Assalamualaikum. I hope you can hear me clearly.
I don't know. But
I'm Fadila from USIM.
Sister Mona, yeah, go ahead, Fadila, yeah.
Okay, I'm Fadila from USIM. I would like to ask you a question about the leadership values or traits of our Muslim community in addressing COVID, not only now and but afterwards, because at the first instance when COVID came, we actually, in some sense, was successful to show the world on how accommodating Islam is. You know, from our daily routines of doing ablution, and how Islam promotes what is first essential, awlawiyat, and to promote ease and not to harm. So at the first instance when COVID struck us, the whole world, I think by social media, have already noticed how Islam is a very practical religion to live. And then when time went, we saw from our own community as well that Muslim Ummah were the ones who continued in doing congregations and ignoring common calls towards curbing the virus. So this is one example of how perhaps in some instances how divided certain parts of our community can be, maybe because of ignorance, or maybe because of perhaps lack of leadership of the Muslim community itself. So I want to know your point of view, from your point of view, the Muslim Ummah right now. Are we in the right track? Are we going towards for common purpose with the rest of the world, or are we still not learning or relearning the religion as how we should in taking chance of this COVID? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have another question from Raharjo, Raharjo from Indonesia. Can you unmute and ask a question, Raharjo? Raharjo, or you want me to read your question from the chat room? Okay, maybe just read his question. His question, what should we do related to COVID-19, may refer to the Quran, which is stated, Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu sta'inu bisabr was salah. This, the first way is sabar, the second way is salah, ubudiyah or tawakkul to Allah. As Prof. Jamal stated, what does mean by sabar? This is one question. Then I have a question from Fedwa Nushat. I think I'm going to read the questions. Jazakallah khair, Prof. Jamal. I would like to express my grief on the increased technology among children, especially due to online classes. There is increased exposure to screen, which then makes small children to be addicted to these technologies. In India, there are a lot of children who are mentally affected due to this improved technology, internet and smartphone. So I would like Prof to encourage all parents to monitor productive use of technology, encourage children to be healthy socially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and so on. From Nushat from India, but actually he's from our IIUM. Okay, Prof. Jamal, you want to ask question? You want to answer, sorry? Unmute, please. Jamal, Prof. Jamal, please unmute your... Yes.
Okay, just a few comments. Again, thank you, brothers and sisters, for these questions and comments. For the first question by Prof. Fadila from OSIM, I think there is very important issue. Are we in the right track or not? Are we up to the level or not? I believe as a Muslim, we have one nice concept which used to be part of also at-tasawwuf. They call it the muhasaba. It's a Quranic term in a way. It's a Quranic term, muhasaba. In muhasaba, self-reckoning or self-accountability. To summarize or to make it short, no matter how perfect you are, you know, this concept, muhasaba and muraqaba, asks you to always improve. I mean, never consider yourself that you reach the top or you reach the level. So I think there is no harm in admitting that we are not up to the level. When it comes to what to do, how to, even though we have the positive side mentioned by Prof. Fadila, alhamdulillah, there is a great thing. the positive side. But the other side, whether we are in the right position or not, I think we need to improve no matter what. We need to improve and go further. So that's the first one. Number for Brother Hajo, what to do, or استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة. Okay, one thing that I would like to mention here is he asked about the sabr or patience. Well, you know, sabr as a concept, Islamic concept or value, is related to many. It's related to many issues, to qadr, to you know, to what we call it, difficulties, running into difficulties, challenges, etc. So COVID-19 is a challenge. It is mihna. It is, you know, that it's a trial. So we need, that's why, for sure, we need sabr. This, if we can do it properly, and if we can explain how people can exercise sabr, I believe that we will have less cases of frustration, less cases of, you know, people, I heard many cases, this is even in the West, by the way, who are what we call them, the psychologically, they are under frustration, under this and that. There is a term.
Mental illness, stress.
Stress, yes. They have also, there's a specific stress, which is negative stress. This is because of there is no sabr, there is no patience. But sabr doesn't mean that we stand still. We have to move. We have to do something. We have to improve. We have to solve the problem. We have to overcome the challenge. This is the thing. So sabr alone is one thing. So that's what I said. We have ubudiyah, two purposes we have been created for. Ubudiyah and Islamic civilization, cultivating the earth. They should go also together so that we live a better life. For the last one, I agree also with the I don't know who presented that.
Fedwa.
Okay, sister, that parents need to supervise and monitor their children behavior when it comes to the use of technology, because there is the misuse of technology and abuse. There is the abuse and the misuse of technology. And there are Satans who are also there to misguide our youth and our children to the wrong direction, whether they name it this or that. So for sure, there is a role for the parents to play so that they monitor and supervise their children. They benefit from the positive side of technology, and at the same time, they are protected from the negative side. That's all I can say in these few minutes.
Okay, thank you. For Fedwa Noshad, I would like you to read, or others to read, this book called titled Glow Kids. Glow Kids, the author of this book is Professor Nicholas Kadaras, where he put it, he's a neuroscientist, professor clinical from Stony Brook Medicine from United States, California. It's a very good book, and Glow Kids, and inform us how dangerous these when the children, especially younger than 7 years old, attached to mobile phone and so on, screen, they call it addicted. Glow Kids, I mean, they're addicted to a screen. So this is very good book. Actually, is one talk about this. You want to have this another seminar. By the way, when we talk about this mental health and stress, and one brother said about depression, tomorrow I would like to invite all of you to come together at the same time, 2:30 Friday tomorrow. We have this Professor Dr. Malik Badri, Islamic well-known psychologist. He was in our IUM. He's from Sudan. He went to now is in Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University. He is the winner of AMSS United Kingdom Lifetime Achievement Award and 2020 Person of the Year by a Tayyip Saleh Award recipient. He will talk is mental illness the next wave of COVID-19 pandemic. So I would like you to join us tomorrow 2:30 on Friday, tomorrow afternoon. And Brother Shahran will share you through Pak Habib the ID meeting and password. I guess we already reached 1 hour, not hour, 2 hours, more, 1 hour 34 minutes. We start 2:30 just now. I think we can conclude with the dua from Prof Jamal Badi for our protection. Prof Jamal, can you unmute your speaker, then can we make dua together?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم اكفنا والمسلمين والمسلمات يا رب شر هذا الفيروس وشر هذا الوباء، واصرفه عن بلاد المسلمين خاصة وعن العالم أجمع يا رب العالمين. آمين. اللهم اصرفه عن الأرض يا رب الأرض والسماوات، يا كريم يا حي يا قيوم. اللهم احفظنا بحفظك، واجعلنا من الذين أدخلتهم في رحمتك، واجعلنا ممن اختصصتهم برحمتك يا ذا الفضل العظيم. اللهم وفقنا لأداء رسالتنا. اللهم وفقني وزملائي هؤلاء والذين يستمعون والذين يشاركون معنا. اللهم يا رب وفقنا جميعا لأداء رسالتنا على أحسن وجه يرضيك يا الله تعالى يا رب العالمين. اللهم آمين. ونسألك أن تتوفنا مسلمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم تحشرنا مع سيد المرسلين. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, amin, amin, ya Rabbil Alamin. We close with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal 'asri innal insana fi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.